Welcome to the City Press YouTube channel with me, Umbali Wambata. Namhlanje I am joined by Philangezwi, Nxumalo, not Zwide, as well as Tebogo, Malapane, who are running the Kippies Fringe at the Market Theatre. The gentlemen run a company called the Art Cave. The Art Cave, which is responsible, not necessarily responsible, but they are curating the fringe at Kippies at the Market Theatre. Take me through what informs the decisions to say that these are the plays that you guys are going to be staging at the Fringe at Kippies.
All right, from Tebogo Malapane, right, one of the curators of the program, right. So after receiving 106 in total applications, right, we were told as well that okay, we were basically given 12 weeks to run the festival. So that simply means, or not a festival, to run the program.
Okay.
Right? So that simply means that's 12 shows.
Okay.
So we had to make a short list.
Out of 100 plus.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. So we had a short list of like 25, 28.
Okay.
Round about there. And those were specifically programs that we believe are experimental plays. You understand? They're out of the normal.
Yeah.
You understand? And even the way they were presented, because these are, it's not a matter of we auditioned, we had to see, it was through proposals, through, you know, descriptions, having the producers of the work, you know, speak or write back to the work so that we get a better understanding of what the play is about, how they are planning to execute it, right? So me and Pila studying the Art Cave was, we want to open an experimental platform where people will come and experiment and explore different ways of telling stories, especially for a live audience, giving a live experience, right? So we got to realize that these 12 plays are actually challenging what we know as traditional theater. They are not just bringing, you know, the normal way of telling, you know, stories on stage. And we were interested in that, and we were like, okay, let's give them an opportunity to get to see how far they've went into experimenting and exploring, you know, this new style of telling theater.
Okay, Pila, take me through your partnership with the Market Theatre as Art Cave. How did it come about that you guys ended up being responsible for curating the program? Because I think in a lot of people's minds, I'm also one of that lot, in a lot of people's minds, there's an idea that the festival is being run by the Market Theatre, Greg is responsible for curating the program. Debunk that for me.
Thank you. So the Art Cave has been operating for, like, literally this year is going to be 5 years.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've been doing is curating things like programs, you know. But one of the biggest things that we did, which is what makes the Market Theatre trust us with this programming, is the Youth-led Experimental Festival. So we have a festival that we run, which is a festival where we bring young emerging theatre makers who have ideas. Then they come and showcase their ideas, and then out of those showcase, we select 1 or 2 shows that we're going to develop into a full production, and then we stage in collaboration with the Market Theatre Laboratory. Okay. So then, so that has been a consistent that we've been doing since 2022. Been running a festival. So this year is going to be it on 4th.
It's the third edition of the festival.
So we've been running that, and then now, so Greg has been seeing that happening. Yes. And then other people also who are at the market have been seeing that happening. So then when they had a Fringe program in 2022, but then it didn't really work at the way the artistic director wanted it to work. Whereas then 2023 they decided not to do it because they felt like they needed people to really understand what is happening. So then, because of what we've been doing with the festival, the Youth-led Festival, then they felt like, okay, these guys know how to program. Yeah. So then maybe these guys can be able to actually help us into making sure that this fringe idea of making Kippies as a fringe space can work, but it needs people that can really manage it 24/7. So that's how we got involved, because Greg has been seeing what we've been doing with the Youth-led Experimental Festival.
Tell me about some of the shows. I saw the Hyenas Tuck Shop last week,
Yeah.
which was a show about some of the children in South Africa, very young children, who lost their lives after allegedly consuming contaminated food from spaza shops, predominantly in the townships.
Yeah.
That's the one that I saw. I remember last year I saw one that you were performing a one-hander. Konja, what was it titled again?
Sonda.
State of the Nation disaster. That was actually hilarious. I really would have loved to see how the South African Parliament would have reacted to see how disastrous they actually are. But take me through some of the shows that are part of this year's Fringe. I know it's running until December.
Yeah, so we've curated the program according to, so each month means something.
There's a theme.
Yeah, there's a theme. Each month
Okay.
means something in South Africa. So June was for.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so June was for Youth Month. So the Hyena's Tuck Shop, it's the new children's theatre play. It's a new voice. Written and directed by Mongezi, who's a new, interesting director with a new interesting voice.
And
so,
the cast was very young.
Yes.
How old are they?
I think it's young people.
Yeah, they're very
someone
young.
in their
They're
40s.
teenagers, yeah.
Yes, so then that was the June, and because the program started in June, but then Hyena's Tuck Shop was the only show in June, so therefore we wanted to end June Youth Month in an exciting way. So we had Hyena, and then July. So Kippies this year will be turning 100 years. So
Yes.
it's 100th centenary for Kippies. So July is dedicated to Kippies 100.
Okay.
So we've got Sombal the Florist, which is a jazz musical show and poetry, which speaks on who Kippies was. The Kippies was a jazz person.
Yes.
So Sombali is jazz, so it's also kind of representing of the inspiration that Kippies has had in young people.
Okay.
Into jazz. And then we have Halala Mr. Party as the end of just before the Kippies week, which is so it speaks about a guy who's a party planner, but then when it comes to a time of him being people for being there for him, then no one is there for him. It also speak on courageous people and people that are doing things for other people, but sometimes when people need to do things for themselves, they are not there. Which also speaks on who Kippies was. When you're looking at the life of Kippies, him contributing a lot in the industry and contributing a lot in people, but
It was not reciprocated.
You understand?
I see.
And then so that's July, and then August
it's Women's Month.
Women's Month.
Are you guys doing Women's Show in August?
Obviously.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely.
So
And,
what are the offerings for August?
Yeah, so for August we have it's a three-hander by all females, right?
Oh,
Faces.
No, it's a four-hander.
Oh, it's a four-hander.
It's got two females and two males.
Oh,
but it
okay,
speaks on gender-based violence. Yes. So it
Yeah.
speaks on gender-based violence. It speaks on how the females are being treated in South Africa. And then we've got...
Actually, I think that's also something that we will need to discuss at some point as a country, as people, as a race, the human race. Really, gender-based violence is not a South African problem. It is not an African problem. It's not a Johannesburg problem. There is no geographic location. Women are being killed everywhere in the world. That's it. Please go ahead.
And then so it's called Faces by Masedi Manenye, which is coming all the way from KZN in UniZulu as part of the curriculum that they do. So then we've got the one-hander by Vuyelwa Maluleke, which is called the Blue Album, which is also a celebration of womanhood, but also how to be a woman and be queer. So it's celebrating that as well. So that's a closing of that, but then of the program. But then there's another show that we are doing, which is not part of the program, but it's just like an ending of the Women's Month, which is called My Diary with My Friends, which is just an Afro pop and an R&B music where you're just celebrating women.
I definitely. Have you got any headlining artists?
So that's a one night only show. And it's a surprise. Of course,
I hate surprises.
And then August, then go to September.
Yeah.
September is heritage. So we're celebrating heritage, we're celebrating who we are, we're celebrating tradition. So we're opening with Nxumalo, which is also a female one-hander, which is just celebrating, just asking yourself who you are, but also the importance of heritage, and it's told in Xhosa.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's taught in pure Xhosa, so it's a beautiful one-hander Xhosa play. And then we've got Isiwula, which is told in Zulu.
That word means islima.
Yes. So
For those who don't know.
it's told in Zulu.
Yeah.
It's 100% Zulu. It also speaks about a man who's coming from the village, who's been in Joburg for quite a long time, and then now he's coming to village. He's coming back home, and then now he needs to try and be a man in at home. But it's been Joburg has been a thing for him. So now
he's gonna be a different kind of man.
Yes.
Speaking of being a man, I know that there's a play that's going to be staged at the National Arts Festival, which is about boys who grew up fatherless. Take me through Tebogo, just to expand on what Upila has just started on. Being a man in South Africa, celebrating heritage this September. How are you guys celebrating it, and what does being a man mean for you as a young man in South Africa who is residing in Joburg, relating it to what he's just said about now having to take it back home to the village?
Being a man in South Africa, it could be interesting, at the same time quite difficult, because we, especially, looking at it from a heritage perspective, right? September, we celebrate our diverse heritages.
Yes,
right? He's Zulu, I'm Pedi, right? Zulu, you understand? So having that diversity and different cultures, we growing together, we have different traditions, we practice different, being a man in isiZulu could mean something different.
I get you,
you understand? So the fun part of it is that we could find ways that we relate, you understand? And the difficult one is that thing of, I can't really learn from him because I also need to go back and understand not as Mopedi, what is it to be a man? How do I become, a fully grown man? And as Mopedi, monna as well, you understand? So that we get, so the fun part of it is that thing of, we could share, have culture exchange, get to understand each other. But for us to be able to do that, we need to go back home and get to understand ourselves first. You understand? Especially coming to Gauteng. You understand? Coming to Gauteng, it's a whole mix of different traditions.
It is.
You understand? And you could get lost if ever when, as an individual, you don't know yourself. Right? So heritage is a reminder, or as much as you are wherever in this world, right? Go back, remember your roots, remember your heritage, right? And that is why I find it important to celebrate such plays like Inzusa, you understand, Isiwula, you understand that you don't go back home and be a lost person. You go back home, you know what rituals, what ceremonies you need to perform, you understand, to come back and find yourself. What how to feel in Gauteng, you don't also, just find yourself lost. You understand? Because you are grounded, you understand your heritage, you understand your roots. Right, so that's why we celebrate such plays and celebrate Heritage Day as a way of finding our ground and understanding our roots.
Okay, we're gonna close it there for the shows themselves, because obviously it's still ongoing till December. We will revisit the conversation there at a later stage,
sure.
And we'll unpack the other shows that are going to be happening. But my next question is, some of the shows that have been staged at the Fringe Festival, at the Fringe, what have been some of the highlights and what have been some of the success stories?
I think because with us programming the program, we only staged one show, which is an show.
Okay.
That was the first opening, and the highlight, obviously, is that it's sold out, 3 times, right? It's got 3 sold out houses. And what was also crazy about it is that that we remember on Friday night we had young audiences, kids.
I was here on Friday. There was a little boy who was sitting here. He was very interactive with the cast.
Yes. So for us, even the artistic director, did say that, to say, like, to have those kind of an audience at night.
I'm so sorry for laughing. I just remembered something that happened with that young boy that day. So it was me. I can't remember what he did, and then I laughed. And then Umem on stage looks at me and she points to me, "Are you done?" That was embarrassing.
So I think Hyena's Tuck Shop really opened the festival
on a high note.
On a high note, And in a way that even us, we are in a situation where people want it back, you know.
That's actually a highlight in itself, that people want the show back, because I think one of the things that has not got enough appreciation is popular demand.
Yes.
Because for these shows to grow, people have to come to the theatre.
Yes.
And only coming to the theatre and then not spreading the word is also counterproductive.
Yeah.
The reason why there is popular demand is because they have gone and told their friends, who told their friends,
Yes.
and now they also want to come and see the show. And this is big, because we have been having the conversation for many years now about the decline in theatre audiences.
Yes, I think what plays also with that is because the show is written and directed by Monges, which was like a friend of ours, but also our long-time collaborator.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, having to do something, because this what we are doing is too big, right? So it was also a moment to say, I was saying to Monges, Gidi, so things like this you need iy'trikers zakho zazi ukuthi lana bafethu siyangena.
Yes.
So you some of these shows we've never seen them that are part of the program. Some of the people we've never even interacted with them.
Yeah.
You know? So we just selected because of how all the shows we selected because of the applications, you know. So but also having known Monges' work, you know, and also having seen what he has done with Hyena's Tuck Shop, it also gives us a boost to say, it means we made a right decision to even start with it, because now it's high. Everyone need to know that you said Kippies.
Yeah, 100%. And also having to look at the fact that it was the last week of the youth month, right?
Yeah.
And schools closed on Thursday, Friday, right? So it was also nice having to see those kids coming with the hope that they will also go and tell their parents that,
and then
you know
they'll
what?
come and see it the following week until it's ending.
Hey,
Oh, man.
you know, but then that's also where the popular demand comes in.
Yes.
You understand? Because right now it's actually the best time to also continue with it. You know, I think it's a conversation that we can still have. Right now, kids are closed for a month. You know, where can this work be staged? Because this is the perfect show, right? Because not just entertaining, it's educating.
It's very
you
educational.
Understand? You know, and having to hear these kids remember the colors they saw on stage, remembering the names of the character through the colors as well. You understand? It shows that he also went into a deeper level of understanding how can I take the Popeye and bring them on stage, you understand?
Yes,
but understand, you know. Yeah, and him being the first person and opening up, I don't know how was his approach, you understand, into bringing the show here. So I'd like him to also maybe say something regarding the Hyena's Tuck Shop being here and
opening the program.
and opening the
and
program.
selling out.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, selling out because
times.
you sold out over 70%, you know, of the capacity from Thursday to Sunday. You know, so that was
sure. So like Upila had said, these are my long-time collaborators, and when I first applied for the program, I thought maybe I'd be called on later in the year, right? And then when the acceptance letter came and it said, end of June we are on, I was like, fit.
Short notice.
I haven't even casted anyone yet.
Rehearsals.
So, I was also just at a slight advantage because we have done this play before at the National Children's Theatre, but it was a 20-minute version with a child cast. Right? So then we expanded it to the 55 minutes which you saw on Friday with this adult cast that you saw.
Well, they're not really adults.
They're all adults. They
Are
play
they not
really
teenagers?
well. I was hoping, I was like, okay, when will I get time to correct you?
Wow.
So they're all adults.
These people
I'm talking
are
23
out of
plus.
varsity. They're out of varsity.
I take it back, they're adults. So
They are all adults. It's an adult cast. So that means they really sold it well.
They did. Casting director.
I was also just very honored to be the first one. You know, we also had that conversation with in fact, we know Uti, you want to do this Sting Awena to give this Fringe program the correct lift off it needs. So yeah, that's how it came about.
And what are the emotions between yourself and the cast when you realize Oguti, you are staging the show for the first time as a 55-minute show for a bigger audience, which is also including adults, and the show is selling out. Like all 3 of the performances were sold out. What were the emotions there with yourself and the cast?
I won't lie to you. So we closed yesterday on Sunday, 29th of June. Like the emotions were really, really high, because it was also that moment where you felt like, okay, the odds are stacked against you. You were called when you didn't necessarily feel ready, and we only finalized the web tickets link literally a week before.
Wait, okay.
A week before.
And still, people still bought the tickets.
People still bought the tickets and sold out. So it was a great sense of just accomplishment, and that sense of just being chosen, that you are meant for this. The powers that be are with you, and we move on with that.
You're on the right path.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We will close it off there. Okay, we will close it off here. Come to the Market Theatre, the Kippies venue in particular, which is where the Fringe is happening. Look into the Market Theatre's website. Keep up with them on social media. They are updating, I think, every week to say, Uguti, this week we'll do a show, next week we'll do a show. And there's also just some background information on the shows, Uguti show, what is it actually about, and also the ticket prices. Book those tickets. Schools are closed. Bring your kids to the theatre. And I am always advocating, Uguti, if you do have the means, if Amanda Unawo, when you go to the theatre, please sponsor a child. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.